Let me tell you a story about a man who weighed 300 pounds, smoked cigarettes, and killed roaches for a living. He was so deeply traumatized by his childhood that he couldn't even look at himself in the mirror. He was terrified of his own shadow. He was a victim of abuse, a victim of racism, a victim of his own crippling anxiety. And then something inside him snapped. He decided that he would rather die trying to become something than live another day as nothing. That man is David Goggins, and his life story is not a self-help book. It is a war cry. It is a brutal, unflinching, and utterly savage masterclass in mental toughness that will make every single excuse you have ever made for yourself sound like the pathetic whimper it truly is. David Goggins grew up in a house of horrors. His father was a violent, abusive tyrant who beat his mother relentlessly. Young David would hide in the closet, trembling, listening to the screams, praying that the monster would not come for him next. He was subjected to racism in his neighborhood, beaten up, bullied, and made to feel worthless. By the time he was a teenager, his mind was a battlefield, and he was losing the war. He developed a severe stutter. He couldn't look people in the eye. He was carrying so much weight, both physically and emotionally, that he could barely function. He thought that this was just who he was. He thought that life was just about surviving, about getting through the day without getting hurt. But deep down, beneath all that pain and fear, there was an ember of rage. A rage that would eventually burn down his old self and forge a new one from the ashes. One night, Goggins was watching a television program about Navy SEALs. These were the toughest men on the planet. These were the men who could endure anything. And for the first time in his life, he felt something other than fear. He felt a spark of possibility. He looked at his own reflection in the television screen and saw a 300-pound exterminator who couldn't run a mile. And he said to himself, "If they can do that, why can't I?" The answer was that there was no reason. There was no reason except for the lies he had been telling himself. The lie that he wasn't smart enough. The lie that he wasn't strong enough. The lie that life had dealt him a bad hand and he just had to accept it. He decided right then and there to stop accepting it. He decided to take that broken, battered soul and drag it through hell until it came out forged in steel. But saying you want to change is easy. Actually doing it is a different kind of beast. Goggins had to lose over 100 pounds in less than 3 months just to qualify for the SEAL training. 100 pounds. Most people struggle to lose 10. He ate 1 meal a day, a tiny piece of chicken and some vegetables. He would ride a stationary bike for 2 hours before work and then run for 2 hours after work. His body was screaming. His muscles were tearing. He was suffering so badly that he would vomit from exhaustion. But here is where the secret of David Goggins reveals itself. He stopped listening to his body. He stopped listening to his mind. He realized that his brain was a traitor. His brain was designed to keep him safe, to keep him comfortable, to keep him in that warm, soft, suffocating prison of mediocrity. He realized that the only way to break free was to actively ignore the pleas of his own mind. He started calling himself a savage. He started telling himself that he loved the pain. And after 3 grueling months, he walked into the Navy recruitment office weighing 190 pounds. He had done the impossible. But that was just the beginning. That was just the warm-up. Bud/S or basic underwater demolition SEAL training, is widely considered to be the most brutal military training on the planet. It is designed to break you. It is designed to make you quit. The instructors are not trying to make you a SEAL. They are actively trying to make you quit so they can weed out the weak. Goggins went into this crucible, and what happened to him is the stuff of legend. During Hell Week, which is the most grueling part of the training where candidates are awake and working for over 5 days straight, Goggins broke his feet. He developed stress fractures in both of his shins. The bones were literally cracking. Every step he took felt like walking on shards of glass. The doctor told him he was done. The instructor told him to quit. The pain was so unbearable that most people would have collapsed, but Goggins looked at his broken feet, and he had a moment of clarity. He realized that he had been brainwashed his entire life into believing that pain was a signal to stop. But he realized that pain is just a signal. It is just a message from your brain, and you have the power to delete that message. He started thinking about his father. He started thinking about all the people who told him he wasn't good enough. He started thinking about the fear that had paralyzed him for so many years. And he channeled all of that into a white-hot fury. He refused to quit. He ran through the sand with his feet literally crumbling underneath him. He peed blood from his kidneys breaking down. He was falling asleep while walking, hallucinating, but he kept moving, one foot in front of the other, not because he was strong, but because he had decided that quitting was no longer an option. He had made a deal with himself. He had told himself that he would rather die than quit. And when you make that deal with yourself, when you truly accept that death is preferable to giving up, there is nothing on this earth that can stop you. He finished Hell Week. He passed the training. He became a Navy SEAL. He had conquered the impossible. But he didn't stop. He never stops. Most people think that once you achieve a goal, once you become a SEAL, you can rest, you can relax, you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. But Goggins understood a fundamental truth that most people will never understand. Happiness is not the goal. Comfort is not the goal. The goal is growth. The goal is to keep testing your limits until you find the edge and then push past it. So after becoming a SEAL, Goggins decided to run ultra marathons. These are races that are over 100 miles long, through the desert, through the mountains, in extreme heat. He had no formal training as a runner. He just signed up and started running. During his first ultra marathon, the Badwater 135, which is considered one of the hardest races in the world, he ran on broken legs. He ran until his kidneys started to fail. He ran until he was hallucinating, seeing coyotes that weren't there. At one point, a race official told him he had to stop. He was going to die. Goggins looked at the official and said, "If I die, I die, but I'm not stopping." He finished the race. He kept running through the pain, through the organ failure, through the absolute brink of death. He didn't just finish. He placed in the top 5. Why did he do it? Why does anyone put themselves through such unimaginable torture? Because Goggins discovered a truth that changed the course of his life. He discovered the 40% rule. The 40% rule states that when your mind is telling you that you are done, that you have given everything you have, that you have reached your absolute limit, you are only at 40% of your true potential. Your brain is a liar. It wants you to be comfortable. It wants you to be safe. It sends you signals of pain, fatigue, and fear to protect you from harm. But the problem is that the modern world doesn't require that level of protection anymore. You aren't running from a tiger. You aren't fighting a war. You are just sitting at a desk, and your brain is telling you that looking at your phone is too hard. The 40% rule is the great equalizer. It means that every single one of us has 60% more capacity, 60% more strength, 60% more endurance than we think we have. The only way to access it is to ignore the suffering. David Goggins talks about the accountability mirror. He stands in front of the mirror every single day, and he looks himself in the eye. He doesn't see a nice guy. He doesn't see a victim. He sees a savage. He calls himself out on his bullshit. He doesn't let himself off the hook. If he felt lazy the day before, he says, "You were a coward yesterday. What are you going to do about it today?" He is brutal with himself, and that brutal honesty is the only way to force change. You cannot change what you are not willing to confront. If you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see, that is not a reason to look away. That is a reason to stare harder. That is a reason to get angry. That is a reason to fight back. Goggins didn't overcome his childhood trauma by repressing it. He overcame it by facing it head-on, by using it as fuel. Every time he wanted to quit, he remembered the fear. He remembered the abuse, and he used that pain to push through. What separates David Goggins from the rest of us is not a superior genetic makeup. It is a superior philosophy. He realized that motivation is a fleeting, childish emotion. It comes and goes like the weather. You cannot rely on motivation. You cannot rely on inspiration. You have to rely on discipline. But discipline is not just doing what you are supposed to do. Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. Discipline is waking up when you are tired. Discipline is working out when you are sore. Discipline is going the extra mile when you have no reason to. Discipline is the absolute rejection of the concept of good enough. Good enough is a disease. Good enough is a death sentence. The person who does just enough to get by will die an unremarkable death, forgotten by the world. The person who does more than enough, who pushes past the breaking point, who embraces the suck, that person leaves a mark on the world. That person becomes a legend. Goggins wrote his book, Can't Hurt Me, for one reason. He wrote it to show you that you are stronger than you think. He wrote it to shatter the illusion of your own limitations. He wrote it to remind you that you are the captain of your own ship, and you are the one who chooses to sail through calm waters or stormy seas. If you are reading this or listening to this, you are probably sitting in a comfortable room. You are not hungry. You are not being beaten. You are not freezing to death. Your problems are small. Your problems are inconveniences. And yet, you let them stop you. You let them paralyze you. Goggins would look at you and say, "You are a spectator in your own life. You are waiting for a miracle to save you." But there is no miracle. The only miracle is the work you put in. The only miracle is the sweat on your brow. The only miracle is the willingness to embrace the darkness. There is no easy way out. There is no shortcut. If you want to change your life, you have to be willing to suffer. You have to be willing to look like a fool. You have to be willing to fail and fail and fail again. But here is the secret. Failure is not the end. Failure is just another step on the path to mastery. Goggins failed countless times. He failed at losing weight. He failed at running. He failed at his training. But he never failed to get back up. He never failed to keep going. He understood that the physical pain is temporary, but the regret of not trying is permanent. The regret of quitting, the regret of giving up on your dreams. That is a pain that will follow you to your grave. It will gnaw at your soul. It will steal your peace. Choose the temporary pain. Choose the discomfort. Because on the other side of that pain is a freedom you cannot imagine. On the other side of that pain is a version of yourself that is unrecognizable to you right now. A version that is hard. A version that is unstoppable. A version that looks at adversity and says, "Is that all you've got?" You have a choice to make. Right now, in this very moment, you can close this video and go back to scrolling. You can go back to your comfortable mediocrity. You can live the rest of your life wondering, what if? Or you can get off your ass. You can put down the excuses. You can throw away the victim card. You can look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself the truth. You have been lying to yourself for too long. You are not weak. You are just comfortable. You are not broken. You are just afraid. And fear is nothing but a liar. Fear is the voice in your head that tells you to quit. It is the voice that tells you to take the easy path. And you have been listening to it your whole life. It is time to stop listening. It is time to fight back. It is time to become the hardest person you know. Because if you can't hurt you, nothing can. No obstacle, no failure, no enemy, nothing. Go out there and earn your success. Go out there and suffer. Go out there and be great. Because you can. And that is the most terrifying and liberating truth of all. The only thing stopping you is you.